Says the Chavot Levavot, we were discussing last time, why did Hashem make it that we have to do ishtadlut? Let him just make it like how we were in the beginning, in the Garden of Eden. Everything was decreed from above, and he just gave us ready-made and parnasah in our hands. Why do we have to go and struggle for it and pursue it and be busy with it? So he said, number one is that in order to test us, to realize that we do have to use our emunah and not to get overtaken by our body's needs and not to forget our soul's needs. And number two, he says, is if we wouldn't be busy working, we would be busy chasing our desires. We would have way too much free time. Not everybody would be able to learn all day. So therefore, it's good to have work. The Bishman Pirkei Avot says it's good to have work and learning. Through the two of them, you're busy with mitzvot, you're busy and not doing averot. But if you would have no work, right, then you do nonsense. And you're going to be busy chasing your desires all day. As it says, Torah and Derech Eretz, Yiget Shneim Mishkach Adamot. Torah with working, two of them erases the sins. Okay. Here's another benefit is it was a compassion for man that Hashem made it that he is busy earning a living. He says and to be busy with this all his life in order that he should not fall into sin. And not to have the leisure to seek out things that he doesn't need to know about, and which he has which any case he cannot grasp with his mind. He says also he will not spend his time, theorizing about topics like the beginning of the universe or what will be at the end of his existence. Right? The Mishnah Chagiga says, right, you have in colleges today, you have philosophy class, and you have evolution, and you have how did the world start, what will happen after we die, all these theoreticals. Sometimes a person can get lost. This is not so simple. There's a little debate in the Rishonim if you're allowed to study philosophy. Right? More Nevuchim that the Rambam wrote that talks about philosophy. A lot of Rabbanim were against it, and they said that this is not for everyone to read. This is specifically for those who have who learn philosophy already and need to have the records set straight for them. But he says that if we wouldn't have to work, we would be busy theorizing about all these things, and they're beyond our grasp anyways. The Mishnah Chagiga says these matters are beyond human comprehension and should not be contemplated. They might lead a person who misunderstands to heresy. How did the Tzdukim start? How did the reform against the rabbis in the temple start? Is because Tzadok and Baitus, they heard the Rebbe, Shmai Naftalion, they said, don't serve God on condition to receive reward. Right? Rather, serve God, not to receive reward, right? Look to serve God for the relationship. But they misunderstood, and when they understand, there's no reward. So they went off there. They made their own Torah. They made their own rules. So you see, if a person doesn't learn something properly, you could lead to heretical conclusions, God forbid. So therefore, another compassion Hashem had with us is that he gave us time to be busy working, so we shouldn't go and theorize about things that are anyways out of our grasp. As it says, Gatam ha'olam Natan belibam mibli asher lo imtza adam et maaseh asher asa Elokim merosh ad sof. He also put preoccupation in the world, so man should not find what God has done from the beginning to the end. Now, obviously, if you become a scholar and you're able to read these things properly, so you're right, you're allowed to read these things. But when a person is just starting out and he wants to know already the secrets of the world, it's like learning Kabbalah when you just became religious. What are you doing learning that? You have to build up to it. You might get confused. You dabble in things that are beyond your comprehension, you could get damaged, God forbid. Like Rabbi Kiva, Ben Zoma, Ben Azai, and Elizabeth and Elisha Ben Avuya, they went to Pardes. They did a soul ascent, and they went to heaven. And then Rabbi Kiva came unscathed. Elisha Ben Avuya went off the derech. He saw an angel over there that was in a very high place, and it looked like there was two gods. So he made a mistake, and he came back, went off the derech. Ben Azai became blind. Ben Zoma died. So you see, if you go to levels that are not for you and you skip, you might get damaged. The Zohar says if you don't have Zechut and you learn Zohar, you could become crazy. You could lose your mind. You could learn these secrets, and it doesn't register well in your neshama, and you come out a little cuckoo, or even very cuckoo. So a person has to have Zechut and has to build up to these secrets. You can't just dabble in these secrets right away. So if we have free time, so we might fall into that trap. So Hashem kind of compassion on us. But if a person makes the service of Hashem his priority, then what? בוחר ביראתו, בוטח בו בענייני תורתו ועולמו, סר מן הדברים מגונים. But now what happens? Do you have to have ishtadut all your life? Do you have to put efforts all your life to work? Not necessarily, says the Chol Levavot. He says, if you choose a life of fear of Hashem, and you place your trust in Hashem in regards to worldly and spiritual matters, and you stay away from negative character traits, you try to become a better person and to get good character traits, he has demonstrated he does not rebel against Hashem in a time of tranquility. What does that mean? That means that if you have real emunah, then you serve Hashem well, even when you're relaxed. Meaning, Shabbat, there's no work. Do you serve Hashem properly also over there? Okay, so anyways, during the week, you gotta get up early to go to work. So you go early, the early minyan, and you stay for the shiur. Because anyways, you need to go to work, and all your friends are there and all that. Well, let's say Shabbat, no, none of your friends are there, and nobody sees what you're doing. Are you also serving Hashem over there? When, let's say, your day off from work, there's no work that day. Do you still wake up and go to your minyan? Do you still go and learn and pray? So over there is where a test. It says the Peleoetz, Chol HaMoed, when nobody's supposed to work, that's the biggest test. Hashem says, let's see if you're really dedicated to Hashem. So he says over there, when a person shows Hashem that even in tranquil times, even in times where you have a day off, you still serve Hashem full-heartedly, you don't take your foot off the gas pedal, he says over there, then what? Then yistalek alav Torah hagilgul sibur b'avatarpo. If you don't show Hashem, you're pursuing leisure and laxity, you don't follow the Yitzhahara, you're not taking in by the enchantment of this world, all these fancy stuff in this world and gashmiut. If you remove yourself from all those things, Hashem will remove from yourself the burden of having to seek out and make use to obtain his livelihood. Comes out that what is the first reason you have to work so hard for money? Is to test you. To test you to see if you really serve Hashem and trust in Hashem. But I see you trust in Hashem. I see you want the right thing. So I don't need to test you anymore. I know you're good. And the second reason is because if you have too much free time, you'll do wrong things. No, but I see you always use your free time for good things. So therefore, once you get to that level, Hashem says, now you don't need to work so much. Now you work 11 to 2, you work 12 to 1, and the rest of the time, you're doing philanthropy, the rest of the time, you're doing tzedakah, the rest of the time, you're learning Torah, the rest of the time, you're free to do mitzvot. But not everyone gets to that level. To get to that level, you need to prove yourself to Hashem that even when nobody sees, you still have Hashem's best interest in mind. Baruch Adonai Olam.